Hi, I'm Megan Thompson with Megan Thompson Coaching. And if you are struggling with the back to school freakouts and maybe even having your own back to school freakout, parenting a highly sensitive child or teen, make sure that you are sticking around. We're going to cover that today. You're parenting a highly sensitive child who is stuck in the daily meltdown cycle. You are seeing hitting, kicking, screaming, throwing things, and your child is shutting down or running away and outright refusing. Then this training will be for you. We are here to cover all about how to break out of this highly sensitive child meltdown cycle and what what back to school does to add to the mix, right? Your child might also be dealing with stomach aches now, worried about their new teacher, tears and meltdowns, complete outright refusals. And all of this can be a daily struggle when trying to get your sensitive kid or teen to get back into the school routine. So one of the things that we can see from parents is that this can start weeks in advance. Your child can start wondering who's going to be in their class, who's going to be, what their assignments are going to be, and you might not find out the actual facts of that until a few days before school actually starts. So pay attention related to your child's worries and all of these concerns. And this is true for kids who are, 4, 5, 7, 11, 15, 17, right? All of those challenges I just mentioned, that can happen on a regular morning when they're in a routine too, right? But following a long vacation, that can be even more stressful because you're trying to help your child break back into what you know to be the most effective wake up schedule, eating schedule, sleeping schedule, and that on top of all of the worries of starting school back up again can be too much to bear for you, especially when you've either been trying to start a different routine all summer or just trying to relax all summer, but changes keep hitting at you. And many parents will tell me that they dread this time of year because they know every single day will lead to a freak out, if not multiple freakouts before school, after school, etc. Your sensitive kid might be struggling to even get ready in the morning, and sensitive teens can really struggle to even get out of bed. This can be quite a frustrating time. And you as a parent could be waiting with bated breath for the school year to start again, right? Struggling, wondering how long this is going to take. Is it going to take a week like most children take who are not highly sensitive to get used to the routine, or is it going to take much longer than that? You might be trying to eke out every last second of the summer before the chaos sets in and the struggle returns, and every morning feels like it can be quite draining for you and your family. And so we're going to talk about what is going to work today. And before we do that, we want to cover the challenges that you can be having. You've probably only just gotten into your vacation routine, right? And now everything's about to change back again. So parenting a sensitive kid, stuck in the meltdown cycle, parenting a sensitive teen isn't easy. We know that, especially when this is happening over and over and over again. And parenting a sensitive kid has a lot to do with establishing routine and healthy habits, and breaking into the school calendar and breaking that down helps sometimes, but sometimes it's about balance, right? You don't want to move too far towards either end of the parenting spectrum when you're working on shifting out of this dynamic, right? So some parents might think that they need to embrace the mean parent role, enforce strict guidelines, thinking that's the only way that your child is going to listen. And this is incredibly important to avoid. When you are trying to run your house like a drill sergeant, your child is going to feel misunderstood and like they don't have enough space to breathe and to pace themselves into adjusting to new major routines. For your sensitive kid and teen, this is new for them. They haven't had to deal with this for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. And it's important for you to notice that while they've done school before, most kids, you can't just expect them to remember what works. Other parents might feel like you need to work on just doing this softly. Wait a minute, walk on eggshells. Let's not disrupt the peace here, right? And obviously that doesn't work either. You are the parent. Your child needs to trust you that you know what you're doing. And when you're following your child's lead, your child is in control. And that is scary for anxious children. Highly sensitive children can be much more prone to anxiety when they are stuck in the meltdown cycle. And so it's really important that you demonstrate structure and routine, because neither of these extreme approaches will help you or your child. Now, I know it's not easy, okay? This job, parenting a sensitive kid, is hard. I parent my own sensitive child, and I'm constantly focused on supporting her in managing her emotions. Now, we don't deal with the meltdowns because I know what I use works with my clients, and obviously it works with my daughter as well. But that doesn't mean that parenting is a cakewalk, right? And so it's important for us to notice where you can support your child so that this feels simple for you, okay? Here's something I know that will help you eliminate those back to school freakouts. When your sensitive kid is having a meltdown, it's because they're experiencing a problem, right? The problem could be not having the right shoes, not knowing what their teacher will say or do, right? Our usual approach, though, as adults is when someone comes to us with a problem is to provide a solution. We get into fix-it mode, right? Someone told you that you were hungry, you tell them, go get something to eat, right? And this is something that your child is going to hear from you if you're stuck in the meltdown cycle too. If they told you they were cold, you might say, all right, let's go get a sweater or a sweatshirt. With your sensitive kid, this will never work. This is because they're not emotionally available to the solutions when they are in the meltdown cycle. And this is really important for you to notice, because when you're trying to teach your child in the moment of a meltdown, they are overridden by their emotional experience. And so if they're anxious about their teacher asking them a question, they don't know if they'll know the answer, problem solving won't help because the anxiety is taking control. The emotional experience of any negative emotion your child's having, whether that be worries or disappointment or frustration or all of the above, is running the show. Your child might be scared. They might forget a textbook. Doesn't matter how many solutions that you give them. The fear is so overpowering that's all they can focus on. And this is important for you to notice, because you might have felt fear in your life before and known logically what to do, but emotionally felt like you couldn't do it. All right, this is what's going on with your kid. It's a perfect storm because the environment also gets in the way for sensitive kids, right? We know that teachers can have rules they need to instill. There's timelines, there's bells, there's assignments, there's other children running around or speaking. So it's really hard for your kid to adjust to school. You could give your child the most simple, easy, foolproof solution, and it can still fall on deaf ears. And this is a challenge that's important for you to notice, because when solutions don't work, what does work to calm your child in adjusting to the back to school chaos, right? Let's focus on that today. Okay. So in parenting a sensitive kid stuck in the meltdown cycle, you need to help your child realize that these problems aren't really problems at all. They're just unexpected. And highly sensitive kids can struggle with that assumption, because when they're hoping for things to go a certain way, it can be devastating and confusing and overwhelming when they don't know what to do and how things will play out. Different things don't have to be bad, though. In fact, they can be amazing. They can lead to opportunities and outcomes, right? Every conflict is based on an unmet expectation. And so you've experienced this as an adult before, I'm sure. So by acknowledging how your child feels, encouraging them without being a cheerleader, you're already halfway there. And this is important to break out of this cycle consistently, all right? Now, we teach our clients how to do this, particularly related to highly sensitive kids, but also to their own highly sensitive kids. There's a lot going on in that strategy, but you need to speak your kids' language first and foremost, okay? Highly sensitive kids benefit from seeing the positive. They benefit from seeing what's possible. And for you as a highly sensitive parent of a highly sensitive kid, chances are this isn't the language that's frequent for you. Now, I'm not saying you can't be optimistic, right? But what's important for your sensitive kid is that whole dynamic is shifted out of working on fixing what's broken and moving into finding the solution. So your child needs to feel seen and heard and understood. And in order to do that, they need to feel like you understand them in a way that most people don't, right? Because being 20% of the population means that 80% doesn't live your life, right? So you have to mirror their tone. You have to use the same words and phrases that they're doing in some of these circumstances. Speak in a way that you know they'll understand, right? Even if it feels foreign to you. We speak often here at MTC to our clients that we're teaching them a foreign language. It takes a while, but it also takes immersion to turn this around swiftly. And you want to instill the confidence in your child that they can do this on their own. This is important because your sensitive kid doesn't usually need your solutions, right? If you've put a sweater on your kid before when they're cold, they've probably picked up that that's an okay solution. They don't need you to tell them that. What we see with our clients is the more that they can encourage their child to find a solution for themselves, rather than simply giving them a solution, the more calm and empowered that child feels. Now, this is much more effective, right? Highly sensitive kids can creatively solve their own problems, and that helps them stay out of the meltdown cycle. Now, once you do those three things, you're well on your way to not just eliminating those back to school freakouts, but also being able to pervasively break out of the pattern as a whole in the family dynamic. This is a proven toolkit to help in any new or stressful situation, because we know that those transitions back to school come again when you shift out of the vacation mode, whenever that's relevant, holiday vacations, personal vacations, etc. This should help you get started and see some headway in those back to school battles, right? And with that being said, it's important for you to notice whether or not you are able to do this consistently. So what do you need to do next? I encourage you to go ahead over to my free training, 5 steps to eliminate those daily meltdowns and break out of this pattern with your family by listening to the shifts that our clients have needed to make. That's going to support you in breaking out of this pattern consistently. Make sure that you follow all 5. And if you're parenting a teen, you would go to meganthompsoncoaching.com/5shifts_teen. Or meganthompsoncoaching.com/5 steps if you're parenting a 14-year-old and under. This is 8th grade and under, okay? So high schoolers need a different way to think about things, and they need to approach problems differently. Before high school, parents are the ones who are leading the show, and we teach you, no matter your child's